If you're over 60 and you go to bed every night without doing one simple thing, I need you to stop everything and listen to me right now. Not tomorrow, not after the next video, right now. Because what I'm about to tell you could be the difference between waking up tomorrow morning and not waking up at all. If you're over 60 and you go to bed every night without doing one simple thing, I need you to stop everything and listen to me right now. Not tomorrow, not after the next video, right now. Because what I'm about to tell you could be the difference between waking up tomorrow morning and not waking up at all. Today, I'm going to show you 7 deadly nighttime habits that silently attack your heart and brain while you sleep. And if certain habits are working against your body during those hours, your heart is fighting a battle it was never designed to fight alone. The consequences are devastating: silent heart attacks, strokes that strike without warning, damage that is permanent and irreversible. But here's what gives me hope. Nearly every one of these nighttime dangers is preventable. Simple changes, starting tonight. In over 25 years of treating older adults, I've seen too many patients lose everything to a single night because no one ever warned them what to avoid before bed. Here's what happens inside your body when you eat a large meal late in the evening, say, after 7 or 8 p.m. And the very first one, most of my patients had no idea it was dangerous until it was almost too late. Do me a favor right now. Are you watching this in the evening? Tell me what time it is where you are. If it's past 7 p.m., what I'm about to share might literally change what you do in the next few hours. Someone else reading your comment tonight might decide to change their routine too. I'm Dr. Walter Pembrook. For over 25 years, I've helped older adults understand what's actually happening inside their bodies in plain, honest language. No jargon, no runaround. What I'm sharing today isn't meant to frighten you. It's meant to protect you. Let's get into it. Let's start with something most people don't think twice about. Dinner. Not what you eat, but when. Because after 60, the timing of your last meal isn't just a matter of comfort. It can determine whether your heart rests tonight or struggles for hours while you sleep. And there's a second danger most people completely overlook. Going to bed with a full stomach pushes acid upward. That acid irritates the vagus nerve, a major nerve that runs directly alongside your heart. When the vagus nerve is aggravated, it can trigger dangerous changes in heart rhythm. In older adults with existing cardiovascular conditions, this isn't discomfort. It's a cardiac risk. Your digestive system immediately demands more blood flow. Your heart has to pump harder to supply your stomach and intestines. Your blood pressure rises at the exact moment it's supposed to be falling. Your metabolism speeds up when your body is trying to wind down. Think of it this way. Your heart is like a worker who just clocked out for the night, and you just handed him a full shift of overtime. He'll do the work. But every night you do this, the wear adds up. What you can do starting tonight. Finish your last meal by 6:30 or 7 p.m., if possible. Keep dinner light, lean protein, vegetables, easily digestible carbohydrates. A major study published in the European Heart Journal followed over 100,000 adults over several years. People who regularly ate late dinners had a significantly higher risk of nighttime heart attacks and strokes compared to those who finished eating earlier in the evening. Signs this habit may be affecting you. You feel bloated or uncomfortable when you lie down. You wake up with heartburn or acid in your throat. Your sleep feels restless, even when you're tired. You notice your heart racing or fluttering shortly after going to bed. I remember a patient, Dorothy, 71, retired schoolteacher from Ohio. She came in after her husband insisted something was wrong. She wasn't having chest pain, but she woke up nearly every night with her heart pounding and acid burning her throat. Turned out, she'd eaten dinner at 9 p.m. every night for years, a habit left over from raising 4 kids on a busy schedule. 3 weeks after shifting dinner to 6:30 and keeping it light, the nighttime episodes stopped completely. I had no idea food could do that, she told me. I thought it was just stress. Avoid heavy fats, large portions, and excess salt in the evening. If you're hungry later, a small glass of warm milk or a few crackers is far safer than a full meal. This one change alone earlier, lighter dinners allows your heart to enter the night the way it was designed to. Rested, not working. But eating late isn't the only habit quietly damaging your heart after dark. The next one is something millions of older Americans do on purpose, believing it's the responsible thing to do. If you take medication for blood pressure, cholesterol, or blood thinning, this next part is not optional reading. This is critical. Your blood pressure follows a natural daily rhythm. In a healthy body, it drops during sleep, what doctors call the nocturnal dip. This drop is protective. It gives your arteries a chance to recover, your heart a chance to ease off. But in many adults over 60, this dip doesn't happen. Worse pressure actually rises during the night. This is called nocturnal hypertension, and it is one of the most dangerous and least diagnosed conditions in older Americans today. Here's why medication timing matters so much. When blood pressure spikes during sleep, it doesn't just strain your heart. It puts direct mechanical pressure on the walls of your arteries. If there are fatty plaques built up inside those walls, and in most adults over 60, that pressure can crack them open. A cracked plaque releases clotting material into the bloodstream. That clot travels to the heart, to the brain. This is how people die in their sleep from causes that looked sudden but had been building quietly for months. Large studies published in The Lancet showed that properly timed blood pressure medication can reduce nighttime heart attack and stroke risk by nearly half. Nearly half. That is not a minor statistic. That is the difference between waking up and not waking up. Missing doses even a few nights per week allows those silent spikes to go unchecked. Watch for these warning signs. Blood pressure readings that are consistently higher in the morning than in the evening. Waking up with headaches at the back of your head. Feeling groggy or confused first thing in the morning. Blood pressure that seems difficult to control despite medication. One of my patients, a retired veteran named Frank Delgado, 68, told me he skipped his evening blood pressure pill whenever he felt fine. He felt fine right up until the morning his wife found him unable to speak on his side of the bed. He survived. But the stroke left permanent damage to his left side. I thought I could tell when I needed it, he said quietly at his follow-up. Turns out I couldn't. What you can do starting tonight. Never skip a dose. Set a phone alarm if needed. Same time, every night, no exceptions. Talk to your doctor specifically about whether your medications should be taken in the evening rather than the morning. For many blood pressure drugs, nighttime dosing is significantly more protective. This is a conversation worth having at your very next appointment. Now, if skipping medication is dangerous, the next habit is even more common. Because of this one, most older Americans don't even know they have. This next one is a habit that isn't really a habit at all. It's something happening to your body every single night, and most people have absolutely no idea. Sleep apnea causes repeated pauses in breathing during sleep. Not once or twice. Dozens, sometimes hundreds of times per night. Each pause can last 10, 20, even 30 seconds. And every single time it happens, a chain reaction fires off inside your cardiovascular system. Oxygen levels in your blood drop. Your brain reads this as an emergency. It sends a distress signal. Your heart rate spikes. Your blood pressure surges. Stress hormones flood your system, the same hormones released when you're in physical danger. Now imagine that happening 200 times in a single night. While you're completely unaware, while you think you're resting, that is what untreated sleep apnea does to a heart over 60 that is already working harder than it did at 40. Large studies from major university medical centers have shown that untreated sleep apnea triples the risk of nighttime heart attacks and quadruples the risk of strokes. Not increasing, triples, quadruples. And here is the part that makes this so dangerous. Most people with sleep apnea have never been diagnosed. They don't know. They wake up tired and blame their age. They tell their doctor they sleep fine because they don't remember waking up. Their partner may have stopped mentioning the snoring years ago. Warning signs to take seriously. Loud, chronic snoring that your partner complains about. Waking up, gasping, or choking. Morning headaches that fade after an hour or two. Extreme daytime fatigue, no matter how many hours you sleep. Blood pressure that remains stubbornly difficult to control despite medication. A patient of mine, Beverly Okafor, 72, grandmother of 6, came in for a routine visit. She mentioned almost in passing that she was tired all the time. Her husband had started sleeping in the guest room 2 years prior because of her snoring. A sleep study confirmed severe sleep apnea. Her oxygen was dropping to dangerous levels more than 40 times per hour. Within 6 weeks of starting treatment, her blood pressure, which had resisted 3 different medications for years, dropped to normal on its own. I didn't realize how hard my body was working just to keep me alive at night, she told me. What you can do starting tonight. If you snore regularly, wake up tired despite a full night's sleep, or have a bed partner who has noticed pauses in your breathing, talk to your doctor about a sleep study. It is non-invasive, often done at home, and it could save your life. Sleeping on your side instead of your back can reduce mild apnea symptoms, but it is not a substitute for proper diagnosis and treatment. Now, the next reason on this list surprised even some of my colleagues when the research first came out, because it looks like the responsible choice until you understand what it's actually doing to your blood. This is the one that surprises people most. Because avoiding water before bed sounds responsible, practical even. You don't want to wake up at 2 a.m. to use the bathroom. You've probably been doing this for years. But what feels sensible on the surface is quietly putting your heart and brain at serious risk every single night. After 60, your sense of thirst becomes significantly weaker. Your body no longer sends clear signals when it needs water. So by the time you lie down, many older Americans are already mildly dehydrated without feeling thirsty at all. And here is what that dehydration is doing inside your body while you sleep. When you're dehydrated, your blood thickens. Thicker blood moves more slowly through your vessels. Slow-moving blood clots more easily. Now layer on top of that the natural physiology of sleep. Your heart rate drops, your blood pressure falls, circulation slows down. If your blood is already thick going into that window, the combination creates exactly the conditions needed for a clot to form. That clot doesn't announce itself. It forms silently. It travels silently. And when it reaches a narrowed artery in your heart or brain, the damage is sudden, severe, and often permanent. A study published in the Journal of Cardiovascular Disease found that even moderate dehydration raised the risk of nighttime cardiovascular events by over 60%. Not a small margin. 60%. Signs you may be going to bed dehydrated more often than you realize. Your urine is dark yellow in the evening. You wake up with a dry mouth or a dull headache. You feel stiff and slow-moving first thing in the morning. You rarely feel thirsty, but you also rarely drink water after 6 p.m. I had a patient, Gerald Hutchins, 70, retired high school principal from Tennessee. Proud of his discipline, told me he hadn't drunk anything after dinner in over a decade because he refused to let his bladder interrupt his sleep. One morning, his daughter found him confused and unable to lift his right arm. Imaging showed a clot in a cerebral artery. His blood work that morning showed severe dehydration. "Nobody ever told me water could be the problem," his daughter said to me in the hallway, still shaking. What you can do starting tonight: drink 1 glass of water 1 to 2 hours before bed, not right before lying down. Use the bathroom immediately before sleep. Keep a small glass of water on your nightstand and take slow sips if you wake up during the night. This simple habit keeps your blood flowing smoothly through the hours your heart needs most. You've now heard 4 habits that are silently working against your heart every night. Before we continue, I want to pause for just a moment, because I want to ask you something directly. Out of these first 4 habits, late dinners, medication timing, sleep apnea, dehydration, which one hit closest to home for you? Which one made you think, I do that? I do that every night. Type it in the comments. Just the number 1, 2, 3, or 4. Or write it out if you want. The next 3 habits are the ones I consider the most overlooked. Older Americans know about diet and medication, but very few people are talking about what comes next. Stay with me. Most people think of bedroom temperature as a comfort issue. Too warm, you kick off the blanket. Too cold, you pull it back up. Simple. But your cardiovascular system doesn't experience temperature the way your skin does. To your heart and blood vessels, the temperature of the room you sleep in is a direct physiological stressor, one that can tip a vulnerable system over the edge. Let's start with heat. When your bedroom is too warm above 75 degrees Fahrenheit, your body works overtime to release excess heat through the skin. Blood vessels dilate and push toward the surface. Your heart rate increases to support that process. You lose fluids through perspiration, concentrating your blood, and your sleep becomes fragmented, which means your cardiovascular system never fully enters its restorative cycle. Research from Harvard Medical School found that sleeping in rooms above 75 degrees significantly increases nighttime cardiovascular stress in adults over 60. Blood pressure becomes harder to regulate. The heart never fully unloads. Now, flip to the other extreme. When a bedroom is too cold, below 60 degrees Fahrenheit, blood vessels constrict sharply to conserve body heat. That constriction increases vascular resistance. Your heart must now pump against tighter, stiffer vessels. In older adults whose arteries have already lost some elasticity, this added resistance can be the final trigger. European health data has shown consistent spikes in nighttime heart attacks and strokes during cold weather periods, particularly among adults over 65 sleeping in poorly heated rooms. This isn't a seasonal coincidence. It is a direct cardiovascular response to cold. The optimal sleeping temperature for heart safety is between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit. At this range, blood pressure regulation improves, heart rate stabilizes, and sleep cycles deepen into the restorative stages where real cardiovascular recovery happens. Signs your bedroom temperature may be affecting your heart overnight. You wake up sweating even when you weren't warm when you fell asleep. You wake up with stiff joints and a tight feeling in your chest during cold months. Your sleep feels light and unrefreshing regardless of how many hours you log. Your morning blood pressure readings are unusually high in winter. A patient of mine, Shirley Kowalczyk, 67, originally from Chicago, had been managing her blood pressure well for years. Then one winter, her readings started spiking every morning for no apparent reason. Nothing had changed with her medication, her diet, her routine. When I asked about her bedroom, she mentioned her husband preferred the room cold. They slept with the window cracked even in January. We made one change. They started keeping the room at 66 degrees with the window closed. Her morning readings normalized within 2 weeks. 20 years of managing my blood pressure, she told me, and it came down to a thermostat. What you can do starting tonight: check your bedroom temperature before you go to bed. Aim for 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. If you tend to run warm, a lightweight, breathable blanket is safer than a hot room. If you live somewhere cold, a small space heater on a timer can maintain a stable overnight temperature without overheating the room. This is not about comfort. This is cardiovascular protection. Now, the next habit is one that almost no one connects to heart health. It doesn't involve food, medication, or temperature. It happens in the minutes right before you close your eyes, and for most older Americans, it's become as automatic as brushing their teeth. This one lives in the 30 to 60 minutes right before you close your eyes. And for most older Americans, it looks completely harmless. You're just watching the news, checking your phone, catching up on what happened today. But what's entering your nervous system during those final minutes before sleep may be doing more damage to your heart than anything else on this list. Here's the physiology. Your body prepares for sleep through a carefully timed hormonal process. Cortisol, your stress hormone, naturally drops in the evening. Melatonin rises. Your nervous system shifts from its active fight or flight state into its restorative rest and repair mode. Blood pressure eases. Heart rate slows. The cardiovascular system begins its nightly recovery, but screens interrupt every step of that process. The blue light emitted by televisions, phones, and tablets suppresses melatonin production directly. Your brain, flooded with blue light, reads the signal as midday and refuses to wind down. But the deeper danger isn't the light. It's the content. News programs, heated political segments, crime reports, family arguments over text, financial worries triggered by a late-night email. Every one of these activates your stress response. Cortisol spikes. Adrenaline follows. Your heart rate climbs. Your blood pressure rises at the exact moment it should be falling. And unlike daytime stress, which your body has hours to metabolize, nighttime stress gets locked in. You carry it into sleep. Your nervous system stays partially activated. Your heart never fully unloads. And the restorative dip in blood pressure that protects older adults from nighttime cardiac events, it never fully arrives. A study from the American Heart Association found that emotional stress in the hour before sleep was associated with significantly elevated nighttime blood pressure and increased cardiovascular risk in adults over 60 independent of all other factors. Signs this habit may be affecting your heart overnight. You fall asleep with the TV on and wake up feeling unrested. You check your phone in bed and find your mind still racing an hour later. You wake up between 2 and 4 a.m. with your heart beating faster than it should. Your last thought before sleep is often something that worried or upset you. One of my patients, a retired judge named Harold Steinberg, 76, from Philadelphia, came in with blood pressure that spiked every single morning without explanation. His diet was careful. His medication was consistent. His bedroom temperature was fine. When I asked about his evening routine, he described it without hesitation. The 10 o'clock news, then the midnight update, then checking his tablet for any messages from his adult children before finally putting it down. I like to stay informed, he told me. I've done it my whole career. We agreed on one change. News off by 8 p.m. Phone face down on the dresser, not the nightstand, by 9. 4 weeks later, his morning readings had dropped by 14 points systolic, without changing a single medication. I didn't realize the news was treating my heart like a courtroom, he said at his follow-up. Keeping it on trial all night. What you can do starting tonight: turn off news programs and put your phone down at least 1 hour before bed. Replace that final hour with something genuinely calm: soft music, light reading, a short gentle walk around the house, or quiet conversation. If you need to check messages, do it before 8 p.m. and make a conscious decision to let the world wait until morning. Your heart needs that final hour to begin its descent. Don't take it away. And now we come to the most important reason of all. The one I promised you at the beginning. The habit that ties everything together, and the one that, once you understand it, will change how you think about every single night for the rest of your life. Every habit we've talked about today has one thing in common. They all silence something your body is trying to tell you. The late dinner silences the signal that your heart is overworking at night. The skipped medication silences the warning that your blood pressure is spiking while you sleep. The undiagnosed sleep apnea silences the alarm that your brain is starving for oxygen hundreds of times a night. The dehydration, the temperature, the screens, all of them drown out the same quiet voice. And this final habit, the most dangerous one of all, is the pattern of ignoring that voice entirely. Dismissing what your body tells you in the night as just aging. Normalizing symptoms that are anything but normal. Going back to sleep when you should be paying attention. Let me be very direct with you. Your body does not go quiet before a heart attack or stroke. In the days, weeks, and sometimes months before a major cardiovascular event, it sends signals. Consistently, repeatedly, in the middle of the night, when everything else is still and there are no distractions, those signals are loudest, waking up with your heart pounding for no clear reason. A strange heaviness in your chest that fades by morning. Shortness of breath when you've barely moved. Tingling or numbness in your arm or hand that you didn't have when you fell asleep. A headache at the base of your skull that greets you before you've even opened your eyes. Feeling inexplicably anxious, a deep unease you can't explain in the middle of the night. Most older Americans experience one or more of these symptoms at some point. And the vast majority of them do the same thing. They wait to see if it happens again. They tell themselves it was the food, the weather, the stress. They plan to mention it to their doctor at the next visit. They go back to sleep. That decision to wait, to normalize, to dismiss is the final and most lethal habit on this list. Because a heart attack that is caught in its warning phase is survivable. A stroke detected in its earliest window is treatable. The difference between permanent damage and full recovery is often measured not in days, but in minutes. And those minutes begin the moment you decide to pay attention. The research on this is unambiguous. A landmark study published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology found that older adults who reported and acted on nighttime cardiovascular symptoms within 1 hour had dramatically better outcomes than those who waited until morning. Dramatically better. Not marginally. Dramatically. Your heart has been working for you every single minute of every single day for over 6 decades. It has never taken a day off. It has never asked for anything in return. When it finally speaks up in the middle of the night, in the only quiet moment it has, the least you can do is listen. I want to tell you about a patient who almost didn't. Rose Marie Callahan, 79 years old. A retired nurse from upstate New York, which, as she told me more than once, made what happened even harder to accept. 3 nights in a row, she woke up at roughly 2 a.m. with a strange pressure across her upper back and shoulders. Not painful exactly, just heavy, wrong. The kind of feeling she described as like someone sitting on me that I couldn't see. The first night, she assumed it was the way she'd been sleeping. The second night, she took an antacid and went back to bed. The third night, something made her wake her husband. He called 911. The paramedics arrived within 8 minutes. The EKG in the ambulance showed a heart attack already in progress, what cardiologists call a silent MI, a myocardial infarction presenting without classic chest pain. In women over 70, this is far more common than most people realize. She made a full recovery. But in the hospital afterward, she said something to me that I have never forgotten. I knew something was wrong on night 1. I just kept talking myself out of it. I kept thinking I'm a nurse. I would know if it was serious. I would feel it. She paused. Turns out, I did feel it. I just didn't trust it. What you can do starting tonight. Write down any unusual symptoms you experience during the night, even if they seem minor and even if they resolve by morning. Chest pressure, unusual fatigue, shortness of breath, tingling in the arms or jaw, unexplained anxiety, headache at the back of the head. Any of these, occurring repeatedly, deserve a conversation with your doctor not next month, not at your next scheduled visit. Soon, and if a symptom wakes you up and something feels genuinely wrong, do not wait until morning. Do not talk yourself out of it. Call for help. The window for intervention is narrow. The cost of waiting is everything. Your instincts about your own body are one of the most powerful diagnostic tools in medicine. After 60 years inside it, you know when something isn't right. Trust that knowledge. Act on it. Tonight and every night. And now with all 7 habits on the table, let's bring everything together. Let's bring it all together. 7 habits. 7 silent ways that sleep, the one thing your body counts on most for recovery, can become the most dangerous part of your day. Number 7. Eating late and eating heavy. Forcing your heart to work overtime at the exact moment it needs rest most. Number 6. Skipping medications or taking them at the wrong time. Leaving your blood pressure unchecked during the hours when arterial damage happens fastest. Number 5. Undiagnosed or untreated sleep apnea. Triggering hundreds of cardiovascular emergencies every single night while you sleep right through all of them. Number 4. Going to bed dehydrated. Thickening your blood at the precise moment your circulation naturally slows down. Number 3. Sleeping in a room that is too hot or too cold. Forcing your heart and blood vessels to fight a temperature battle they were never designed to fight during sleep. Number 2. Screens and emotional stress before bed. Keeping your nervous system activated and your blood pressure elevated through the critical wind-down window your heart depends on. And number 1, the habit that makes all the others more dangerous. Ignoring what your body is telling you in the night. Dismissing symptoms that deserve attention. Waiting until morning when the window for help is closing by the minute. None of these habits require expensive treatments to fix. None of them require surgery, specialist referrals, or dramatic lifestyle overhauls. Most of them can be changed tonight. With awareness, with intention, with the simple decision to take what your body needs seriously. I want to say something directly to you before we finish. You have worked hard your entire life. You have taken care of other people, your children, your spouse, your community for decades. You have earned the right to a night of safe, restorative sleep. But that sleep doesn't happen automatically. Not after 60. Not with the cardiovascular changes that come quietly with age. It has to be protected, deliberately. Every single evening. The older Americans who wake up healthy tomorrow morning, who make it to breakfast, who call their grandchildren, who walk out their front door into another day, they aren't just lucky. Many of them are doing small things right, night after night, that most people never think to do. Tonight, you know what those things are. Starting tonight, you can be one of them. I'm Dr. Walter Pembrook, and I'll see you in the next video. Before you go, I want to ask you one thing. Out of these 7 habits, which one are you changing tonight? Not next week. Not after you've thought about it. Tonight, write it in the comments. Just one habit. The one that hit closest to home. Because here's what I've learned in 25 years of medicine. The moment you say something out loud or write it down where someone else can see it, it stops being an intention and starts being a commitment. And your commitment tonight might be exactly the push another older American needs to make the same change. If this video gave you something useful, something you didn't know before you pressed play, please share it with your spouse, your sibling, your closest friend, the person in your life who goes to bed every night not knowing what you now know. Subscribe to Dr. Walter Pembrook for new videos every week. Plain, honest health information built specifically for older adults who deserve straight answers. Sleep well tonight. Your heart is counting on it.